Okay, let me share my screen first. And can you tell me if you can see it? Nakita, class? Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So, for this day, our discussion is all about trigonometry. So, I think this is the last topic that we will be discussing in Precalculus. This is the last but medyo taas-taas ni gamay. Okay? So in the end of the lesson, students will be able to find the 6 trigonometric functions of an angle. So this is the major objective that we need to discuss today, the 6 trigonometric functions. Okay, before that, let us define first on what is trigonometry. Trigonometry consists of two Greek words, trigono and metric. Trigono means triangle and metric means measurement. It means trigonometry is dealing about measurement of triangles. So in trigonometry, you will be dealing with the sides. Sometimes you will be dealing with the angles of your triangle. Let me admit the students first. Okay. So that's it. We will be discussing about angles and sides of triangle. So we also have, if you have a right triangle rather, if you have a right triangle, then the longest side is called hypotenuse, right? Ang pinakataas is called hypotenuse. And if this is your angle, say this portion is your angle, the opposite side is called opposite. And the side beside it is called adjacent side. And the longest side is called the hypotenuse. And if your angle is here, the opposite side must be somewhere here. The adjacent side is here. And the longest side again is called hypotenuse. So I think that is very clear. Okay. So there are 6 trigonometric functions that we will be dealing. The first 3 are the sine, cosine, tangent. We also have cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So again, sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, cotangent. These are the 6 trigonometric functions that we will be dealing with. Okay, no need for the pronunciation to discuss. I think you know it already. Do you have any background about the 6 trigonometric functions in your grade 9? I think you have, right? Nakaagi na ba mo ano sa grade 9 class?
Yes, yes sir.
Okay. Okay, since you know it, so wala na tayo dito kita magdugay og ayo ana no. In trigonometry, this Greek letter theta will represent an angle. Sometimes it will be alpha or it will be beta or any Greek letter that will represent your angle. But most of the time we are using theta. Okay, it will represent your angle. So if this is your angle, say if this is your angle somewhere here, when you look at here, this is your angle, and this is a right triangle. So if you are looking for the sine of this theta, if this is your theta, if you're looking for the sine of that theta, by the way, instead of writing sine, S-N-E, in notation, we will just use S-I-N then theta. It means you read this as sine theta. Okay? So the sine of this theta is just the opposite all over the hypotenuse. So if you say opposite all over the hypotenuse, it must be this one. The opposite is this side, right? If this is your angle. And the hypotenuse is the longest side. Okay? You will just get the measurement of this, divide it with the measurement of the longest side. Then that will be the sine of that theta. whatever is the theta. Okay? For the cosine, it is just the adjacent all over the hypotenuse. If this is your angle theta, the adjacent side must be here in the arrow. Whatever is the measurement here, divide it with the measurement of the longest side, this portion. Then that will be the cosine of your theta. For the tangent, tangent is just opposite all over the adjacent. So if this is your theta, the opposite side must be somewhere here. Okay? And the adjacent side must be here. And you will get the measurement of here, this side and this side. You take the ratio, then it will be the tangent. Okay. What I represented are just the three: the sine, cosine, tangent. But there are 6. So by the way, the cosecant is just the reciprocal of your sine. Baliktadon ang sine. And the secant is the reciprocal of your cosine. And the reciprocal of your tangent is the cotangent. That's why if you're looking for the cosecant, it is just the reciprocal of your sine. Okay? Oops. And your secant is just the reciprocal of your cosine. And then the cotangent is just the reciprocal of your tangent. Okay? So those are the 6 trigonometrics that you need to remember. And for you to remember it easily, you just have to remember the SOHCAHTOA CHOSHCAHTOA. Okay? Have you heard about this before? So all you have to remember is SO, it means sine is equal to opposite all over hypotenuse. Ka, cosine is just equal to adjacent all over hypotenuse. TOA, opposite all over the adjacent. And CHO, cosecant is equal to hypotenuse all over the opposite. SHA, secant is equal to hypotenuse all over the adjacent. And COW, cotangent is just equal to adjacent all over the opposite side. So those are the 6 trigonometric functions that you are going to remember. The SOHCAHTOA CHOSHCAHTOA, sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. And you also have there an angle in standard position. Okay, when we can say that an angle is in standard position. Angle is in standard position class if you say angle, there must be an initial ray, and you also have a terminal ray. Kung diri ka gasugod, dira ka nihunong, this is the initial ray, this is the terminal ray. That is your angle. Okay, an angle is in standard position if the initial ray is in the positive x-axis. Kung naadira gani ang inyong initial ray, then that angle is in standard position. Okay, always bear in mind, an angle is in standard position if the initial ray is lying in the positive x-axis. And one more thing, a unit circle. What is a unit circle? A unit circle is a circle wherein the radius is 1 unit and the center is at the origin. Kung ang center gani nasa origin or center is at 0, 0 and the radius is 1, then that is called a unit circle. Okay? And we will be using these 2 ideas later. Okay? Any questions so far before we go? May pangutana? Wala?
Wala, sir.
Good. So those are the things that we need to consider. Unit circle is also done. It's also here. Terminal point. What is a terminal point? A terminal point is, say for example, this is your initial ray, and somewhere here is your terminal ray. This is your angle. By the way, your angle is positive if the direction is counterclockwise. And your angle is negative if the direction is clockwise. Okay? Oops, baliktad. Clockwise direction. Okay? Kung counter opposite sa relo, positive. Kung pareha sa relo nga rotation, then that is a negative angle. Okay. So, what is a terminal ray? A terminal ray is this one, right? Katong diha mohunong imong angle. And what is a terminal point? A terminal point is the intersection between your unit circle in blue, the one that I mentioned a while ago, unit circle. The radius is 1 and the center is at the origin. And your terminal ray, ang ilang intersection is called the terminal point. Kana. Unit circle and terminal ray. Microphone, Shama. Badu.
Sorry, sir.
Always remember that one. Okay, again, I will repeat. Your terminal point is the point of intersection between your unit circle and your terminal ray. Say gamit ana, that terminal point will determine your 6 trigonometric functions later. Okay? Anong makuha man ng 6 trigonometric functions? Okay. Can you look at this one? If this is, okay, I will write it again. Well, so for example, your terminal ray is here. Remember, sine of your theta is just equal to, if you look at here, this is your terminal point. And the terminal point here, let me change it to red. The terminal point here will have the coordinate of x, y in general. Anong x? X is the distance from this point going to this portion. This is your x. And your y is the distance between this point until here. That is your y. And this portion is 1 because this is a unit circle. The radius is 1. Remember, if this is your theta here, if this is your theta, somewhere here is your theta. Remember, sine is just the opposite all over the hypotenuse. And the opposite is y and the hypotenuse is 1. And if you look at here, your sine is just the y of this terminal point. Whatever is the measurement here is the automatically your sine. So it means kung may bawaan nimo na, makuha na nimo diretso ang sine. And the same thing for cosine of your theta. The cosine is just the adjacent all over the hypotenuse. The adjacent is x and the hypotenuse is 1. So it means whatever is your x, automatically that is the cosine of your theta. Okay? And for your tangent, the tangent of your theta is just equal to your opposite all over the adjacent. And the opposite is y and the adjacent is x. Okay? And that is now your tangent. And if you are looking for the cosecant of your theta, the cosecant of your theta is just the reciprocal of your sine. And that is just 1 over y if you have your terminal point. And your secant of your theta is just the reciprocal of the value of x or the ordinate of that point. And the cotangent of your theta is the reciprocal of your tangent, and that is x over y. So, if you know your terminal point, the intersection between your initial ray, a terminal ray rather, and your unit circle, if you know that point, automatically you can get the 6 trigonometric functions of that angle. Okay? So it is very important to know what is your terminal point, because out of your terminal point, you will be able to solve the 6 trigonometric functions. Okay? Okay, no need for us to discuss this anymore. Let us have an example. Let us find the 6 trigonometric functions of the angle 90 degrees. Okay. Amo ng 90 degrees class. If we will draw it, amo ng initial ray so that it will be standard position. Asa gani? Nasa positive x-axis. It must be in standard position. This is your initial ray. Amo ng 90, it must be somewhere here. The terminal ray must be somewhere here. That is 90 degrees. Right? And if you will draw a unit circle, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, and 1 unit, you will have the unit circle here. And remember, our objective is to find our terminal point. Kung sa ganin ang terminal point? Anyone? What is a terminal
Ah,
point?
Point
intersection.
between the standard circle, the circle and the ray term in the ray.
The point of intersection between your terminal ray and their unit circle.
Terminal.
So it means it must be somewhere here. Kana. And it is very to determine, it is very easy to determine your terminal ray if your angles are quadrantal. Kinsa nang reconnecting ang pangalan, change it. Change your name. Quadrantal angle, or else you will be marked absent. Quadrantal angles. Saan ang quadrantal angles class? Quadrantal angles are angles wherein your terminal ray will fall exactly in the axis. Example, 90, 180, 270, 360, 0, negative 90, negative 80, and so on. Those terminal ray will fall exactly in the quadrant are called quadrantal angles. And it is very easy to determine the terminal point of those quadrantal angles. Why? It is very easy in a sense nga kini nga point automatically kabalo naman mo ana nga point. Usa ni nga point? Can tell me what is this point?
1, sir.
Point man, so it must have an x and y coordinate. Yes, sakto to. Ang x niya is 1, sa iyang y.
1, 0, sir.
0. Very good.
0.
How about this point? Usa ni nga point?
Negative
Negative 0.
Negative
1,
0.
0. How about this portion? How about this one?
0, 1.
0, 1.
0, 1. Very good. How about this
0, 1, 0.
point here, terminal point here?
0,
negative 1.
0, negative 1. Mao na akong giingon sa inyo nga class, dali ra kayo i-determine ang terminal point if your angle is quadrantal. Just like 90. 90 is a quadrantal angle. Automatically, in this case now, we will be using this point. This is your x. Oh, let me change it to black para maklaro. This is your x and this is your y. Okay? So if you're looking for the 6 trigonometric functions of 90, so it will be sine of 90 degrees. Remember, as I mentioned a while ago, sine is just the value of your y. And your y is 1. Even if you press it in your calculator, sine of 90, it will give you 1. Okay? What is cosine of 90 degrees? Cosine of 90 degrees is just the value of your x, as I mentioned a while ago. Okay? Sakto, Jetro? Y is equal, sine of 90 is 1, right? Okay. Cosine of 90 is 0, right? Because that is the value of your x. Ang i-mention ako ganina, sine is for your y, cosine is for your x. And for your tangent, tangent of 90 degrees, it must be your y over x. Your y is 1 and your x is 0. And we all know, if your denominator is 0, that is undefined, right? Even if you press it in your calculator, may yung syntax error or error, because tangent of 90 degrees is undefined. So, napay tulo ang cosecant. Cosecant of 90 degrees. Cosecant of 90 degrees is just the reciprocal of your sine. The reciprocal of 1 is still 1. 1 over 1 is still equal to 1 over 1 if you take the reciprocal. The secant of 90 degrees is just the reciprocal of your cosine. If your cosine is 0, it must be 1 over 0, and that is undefined, right? And remember, your calculator will only compute for sine, cosine, and tangent. But in your calculator, walay cosecant, secant, or cotangent, no? Wala.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Naman, nakuha na, sir, kanang, nakuha, sir, kay sine to the power of negative 1. Wala siya.
Inverse, yeah, inverse. Oh.
Inverse
Okay.
na.
So you have here, for the cotangent of 90 degrees, that is just the reciprocal of your tangent. If that is 1 over 0, the reciprocal is 0 over 1, or simply equal to 0. So these are the 6 trigonometric functions of the theta 90 degrees. Okay? Klaro? Sayonara? It is very easy. So, any questions before we proceed to the next example?
Wala siguro, sir.
Wala ipangutana. Very good. So, let us proceed to the next part. Next example. One more example for quadrantal. Let us change it to negative 270. I will make it negative 270 degrees. Okay. So, if we graph it, always bear in mind that your angle is in standard position if the initial ray is in the positive x-axis. So, dili ka magsugod. So that it is in standard position. Your terminal ray must fall. Remember, this is negative. I change it to negative. If you say negative, the direction must be clockwise direction, right? Clockwise direction. So it must be here 90, 180, 270, right? So your initial terminal ray must fall somewhere here. And this is your angle. You know? That is your angle. So this is your terminal ray. That is your terminal ray. So if you are going to plot your unit circle, must be somewhere here. This is your unit circle. And if you look at here, the terminal ray is here. The intersection between your terminal ray, the terminal point rather, the terminal point is here because that is the intersection between your terminal ray and your unit circle. Ang saan nga point? Saan nga point?
0, 1, sir.
02. Ay, 01, 01.
0, 1. And I think that is the same with the 90 degrees, right?
Yes, sir.
The same. So it means their 6 trigonometric functions are also the same. Okay? If that will happen, if their terminal ray will fall in the same position, then they are called coterminal. Coterminal. Just like 90 and negative 270 degrees are called coterminal. Coterminal angles are angles having the same 6 trigonometric functions. Okay? Parehas ang ilahang 6 trigonometric functions. But they are in the same measure. They are in different measurement. But their 6 trigonometric functions are the same. Okay? Claro? So I will not compute it anymore because I already provided it a while ago in the measurement of 90. It just happened that they have the same terminal point. Okay, let's proceed to the next. How about negative 360 degrees? Aha mo na. Okay, again, your angle is in standard position if your initial ray is in the positive x-axis. Negative 360 degrees. Negative, the direction is clockwise direction. So it must be something like this. 90, 180, 270, 360. Right? It means your terminal ray will also fall in your initial ray. Right?
Yes, sir.
So if you are going to draw your unit circle must look like this. This is your unit circle. If this is your unit circle and this is your terminal ray, so your terminal point must be this one. Right? O saan yung terminal point karon? O saan ang terminal
1,
point?
0.
1-0.
It should be 1, 0. Now, let me ask you now, what is the sign of negative 360 degrees? Answer.
0, sir.
0, because that is just your y. Sine is just your y. How about your cosine? Cosine of negative 360 degrees?
1, sir.
1, because cosine is just the x coordinate of your terminal point. So this is just 1.
1.
How about your tangent of negative 360 degrees?
0.
0, sir.
Tangent is just the y over x, or 0 over 1, or simply 0. Okay. How about the cosecant of negative 360 degrees? It's just the
Undefined.
reciprocal of your
Undefined,
sine.
sir.
Yes,
Undefined.
correct. It is 1 over 0, and that is undefined. How about your secant of negative
Undefined, sir.
360 degrees? It's just
Undefined yapon, sir.
Undefined yapon, sir.
secant is just the reciprocal of your cosine. your cosine is 1 or 1 over 1. If you take the reciprocal, still 1, right? Not undefined. Agree? Because secant is just the reciprocal of your cosine. And your cosine is 1. 1 is just the same with 1 over
Lagi
1.
dominator ako lagi.
Negative 360. Okay. How about for the cotangent? For the cotangent of negative 360 degrees, it is just the reciprocal of your tangent, and that is 1 over 0 or undefined. Muna ang undefined, ang cotangent. Klaro? Question?
Yes, sir.
Any
None,
question? None. Very
Wala,
good.
sir.
Again, I will repeat, it is very easy to find the sixth trigonometric function if your angle is an example of quadrantal angle. It means that the terminal ray will fall in either x-axis or y-axis. Okay? The problem is, how if your angle is not quadrantal? Ano yung problema, no? Alright. By the way, this will be your task before we proceed to the next. This is your task. This is your homework, and you will be passing your answer in the Google Classroom later. This is the first one, number 1, that you are going to solve. Find the 6 trigonometric functions of negative 180 degrees. Now, let me go back with the question a while ago. What will happen if your angle is not quadrantal? Just like 30 degrees. Let us plot it. Again, your angle is in standard position
Or lang sa.
if your initial ray is in the positive x-axis. Asa man ang positive 30? So positive, so counterclockwise direction. And 30 must be somewhere here, right? This is the 30 degrees. Okay. And if you are going to draw your unit circle must be somewhere here, right? And if you draw it, it must look like this. Asang terminal point? Harapit ang terminal point. Kung sa gani ang terminal point, class?
Between the terminal
Intersection sa
Intersection sa
ray of
terminal ray.
unit
Kini
circle.
terminal ray,
terminal
no?
ray and the
unit circle.
unit circle.
So kani nga point. Kana no, in white. That is your
Yes, sir.
terminal point. But the problem is, it is not easy now to determine this one. Unlike the ray, sayo naman eh, kana. How if dili na dira, dinhi na. Karon, mugawas na dayon ang tabang sa gitawag nato nga special triangles. Have you heard about special triangles? There are 2 types of special triangles that you need to remember. The first one is the 30, 60, and 90 degrees triangle. Saan na siya? The 30, 60, 90 degrees special triangle is formed when you have an equiangular triangle. If you say equiangular, this is 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees. And you are going to separate it into 2. This is 90. So somewhere here, it will be 30 na, kini nga portion. And this portion will be 60. 30, 60, 90. Okay? Something like ang mahitabo, ingon ani ang mahitabo. Yan ani ang iyahang mahitabo na. 60, 30, klaro no? Ang larohon gamay. I will change it to this one. So, mahimo na siyang form nga nganan. 60 degrees, 30 degrees, and 90 degrees. So, what you will remember is if this is 1 unit, that is 1 unit. This is always 1 because this will fall in your radius. The longest side is 1 in the unit circle. The opposite of 30 must be 1/2. Just remember this one. And the opposite of 60 is square root of 3 over 2. Okay? Square root of 3 over 2. Ano man na? Ano ningon na naman ang mga values? Remember, kaganiha, 1, 1, 1. If you separate that into 2, kani 1/2 na lang ni. Right? Ang kulang na lang kini nga side. And of course, this is a right triangle. So you can use the Pythagorean theorem wherein you have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So the c is the longest, that is 1. So it is 1 squared. Your a is 1/2 squared. And the b is the one that you are looking for. B is somewhere here. Kani. So if you solve that, it will be, let me erase this portion. If we continue solving for b, it will now look like this one. It will be 1. You can transfer it to the other side, minus 1/4. May mo siyang 1/4 kay 1 squared is 1/4. 1/2 squared is 1/4. Minus kay gitransfer sa pikas. It will be equal to b squared. And if you simplify it, it is just 4 over 4 minus 1/4, that is just 3 over 4, equal to b squared. And if you take the square root both sides, it will be square root of 3 over 2. And it will be b. Okay? Over 2 ni, over 2. So, if you look at here, this side now will be square root of 3 over 2. Unang timanan ninyo, ang opposite sa 30 degrees is 1/2. Always bear in mind, in the special triangle, the opposite of 30 degrees is 1/2. The opposite of 60 is square root of 3 over 2. And the longest side is 1. That is for the 30, 60, 90 degrees triangle. And we also have one more special triangle, the 45, 90 degrees triangle. The 45, 45 degrees triangle is formed from the circle, square rather. A square wherein the diagonal is 1. The diagonal is 1. If that is a square, if you separate it into 2, so 90 degrees na, gitunga, so 45 ni, 45 na. And we don't know this side, so we let it be equal to x. Okay? And we know that this is 1 because the diagonal is 1 unit, and that is the longest side. Again, you can use the Pythagorean theorem that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Your c is 1, so that is 1 squared equal to, your a is x, so that is x squared. Your b is also x, so that is also x squared. If you combine this, it will be 1 equal to 2x squared. If you divide both sides by 2, so your x squared now is just equal to 1/2. Okay? And if you take the square root both sides, this is just x, and here will be equal to 1 over the square root of 2. Because the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 2 is the square root of 2. If you rationalize it, it will be now equal to square root of 2 over 2. And I think you know it already. Okay? So it means the answer of your x is just equal to square root of 2 over 2. So this x is just equal to square root of 2 over 2. Square root of 2 over 2. Therefore, if you are going to determine your 45, 90 degrees triangle, you just have to remember this one. Let me erase it clearly. If you have a 45 degrees triangle, all you have to remember, this is 45 degrees, 45. The opposite of 45 is square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, and the longest side is 1. So these two triangles, the 30, 60, 90 degrees triangle, and the 45, 90 degrees triangle are the special triangle that we will be using in finding the terminal point in these cases, just like in the number 5. Okay? Klaro? Uy, klaro ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me continue in the problem that we have. Number 5. Unsa nga special triangle atong gamiton? 30, 60, 90 or 45, 45, 90? What do you think?
30, 60, 90,
30,
sir.
60,
Of
90,
course,
60,
this is
90, sir.
30 degrees, so you should use the 30, 60, 90. So we will be using that one. Okay. If that is the 30, we will draw here a right triangle. And this is the right angle here. Ato i-block para maklaro. The right angle here. If that is the right angle, this is 30. Unsa gani measurement ani? If that is 30, the opposite of 30 is 1
One.
half.
One
Sir.
half.
Ang opposite, this is 60, right? This portion is 60. The opposite of 60 is square root of 3
Square root of
over
3
2.
over
By the
2.
way, this is 1 half and it is positive. Why positive? Because going up. This is square root of 3 over 2 and it is positive because going to the right. Lahi na po ang case kung going down or going to the left. It should be negative. And always bear in mind that the longest side is always 1. Okay? The radius is always positive 1. So in this case, if you are looking for the sign, by the way, ito sa tanawon, ang x is square root of 3 over 2, so your x is square root of 3 over 2. Dara ang x. Inyong y is 1 half, so this must be 1 half. Right? So unsa ang
Yes,
sign?
sir.
Unsa ang sign?
1 half, sir.
1 half. Very good. Okay? The y coordinate of your terminal point. How about your cosine?
Negative 3 over 2.
Square root of
Positive or
The
negative?
square root of 3
Square
over
root
2.
of 3 over 2.
Positive, sir.
Positive. Tangent. The y over x, right? Your y is 1 half and your x is square root of 3 over 2. The 1 half will be canceled out, so you only have 1 over the 2 rather, because kung ato na reciprocal, ma-cancel man na. So you only have 1 over square root of 3. If you rationalize it, square root of 3 is square root of 3. So your answer will be square root of 3 over the square root of 9 or 3. So your answer is square root of 3 over 2. Okay? How about the cosecant? The cosecant of 30 degrees or the theta that we have, the theta man atong gitawag, is just the reciprocal of your sine, or that is just 2. Right?
Tulag,
No?
sir.
How about the second? The second of your theta is just the reciprocal of your cosine. So it should be 2 over the square root of 3. And if you rationalize it, it will be square root of 3, square root of 3. So it will be 2 square root of 3 over 3. Okay? And for your cotangent of theta or 30 degrees is just the reciprocal of your tangent. If your tangent is 1 over square root of 3, if you take the reciprocal of that, it is just the square root of 3. Okay? Claro? So
Yes, sir.
these are the 6 trigonometric functions of 30. So again, you can use the special triangles if your angle is not quadrantal. Question before we proceed to the next. Any questions?
Na ako'y question, sir.
Sige, go.
Sir, kanang what if kanang ang angle kanang degree kay angles kay dili 30 60 90 or 45 45 90. For example, ang angle kay 13 ani 25 degrees.
Napatay additional theorem nga ipang-discuss. Naigitawag na to nga double angle, half angle, or naputay mga additional nga mga manipulations sa trigonometry. If we still have enough time, we will reach to that portion. Good question. And we also have what we call the quadrant, gitawag na to nga kanang angle nga magamit na to if that is not if it is more than wala nang 30 90 o 45 45. Okay? Okay, ato lang na ipang-discuss after this one. We still have one more topic next to this. Then we will proceed to the special angles that we will be considering. So special formulas and theorems. Okay? As of now, there is pa, dili mabigla. Okay? Let us have the next one. How about 45? 45 degrees. If we draw the 45 degrees, it must look like this one. You know, initial ray, positive 45, so this must be here. This is 45 degrees. And your terminal, your unit circle must fall somewhere here. It will look like this. Unit circle. So your terminal point must be here. No? Kana? So man na pag-determine unsa nga special triangle itong gamitan, dili man na quadrantal, so special
45,
triangle.
45, 90, sir.
Very good.
45,
The 45,
45,
45, 90. So this must be right, or the 90, that is 45, it must be also be 45. Okay? Unsa gani ang measurement diri nga portion? Unsa gani opposite ni 45?
Square root of
Square
2 over
root of 2
Square root of
Square
2
root of 2
over
over
2.
2.
Positive
Over
because
2.
going up. Okay? This is also 45, so this side must also be square root of 2 over 2. This also be positive because going to the right. This side is 1 because that is a unit circle and the radius is 1, and that is the longest side. And it will always be positive. Okay. Inilang ang timanan. Ang inyong x is square root of 2 over 2, and that is positive. Your y is square root of 2 over 2, and that is also positive. Both positive because your terminal point falls in quadrant 1. If it is in quadrant 2, say sign. Both
Negative.
positive.
Sir.
Kung first quadrant. Second quadrant,
Negative, positive.
negative,
Negative,
positive.
positive.
Kung third quadrant,
Negative, negative.
both negative. Kung fourth quadrant, oops.
Positive,
Positive,
negative.
negative.
So it is positive for x, negative for y. Right? So kini nga case, both positive. Klaro? So
Yes, sir.
then you will be determining the sixth trigonometric function of this. And that is your second task. Task number 2. Okay, kamo na padayon ha. I already provided this to you. This is your number 1 and this is the number 2. Okay? So that is your task. You need to answer number 4 and number 6. You will be uploading your answer in the Google Classroom. And
Is it?
kano sa ang deadline? Tonight, 12. By the way, class, I will inform everyone that we will be meeting daily na. Kaya di na nato mahuman ng coverage. Tomorrow, we will meet again the same time. Clear?
Yes, sir.
We will meet again tomorrow.
Eh, paano mong gano'n, sir,
Wala na.
kanang mga dili na nun ta.
Pag-screenshot sa mo sa inyong task.
Sir, ako yung question about sa task, sir ba?
Sige, go.
Ang answers na among i-kuan dito, sir, kay ibutang pa na magbalik ang graph, sir, or ang kato na lang yung
Tanan.
value sa...
Tanan.
Ay, okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you,
all.
sir.
Okay. Okay na. Any questions?
Ay, sir, ganang akong